Breaking tonight, it's been just 5 days since we first saw the video revealing vulgar comments about women made by Donald Trump in 2005.
I better use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the I can do anything.
That moment will become the subject of the very first question at the presidential debate just 2 days later, when Mr. Trump was pressed by the moderator, Anderson Cooper.
You described kissing women without consent, grabbing their genitals. That is sexual assault. You brag that you have sexually assaulted women. Do you understand that?
No, I didn't say that at all. I don't think you understood what was said. This was locker room talk.
Are you saying that what you said on that bus 11 years ago, that you did not actually kiss women without consent or grope women without consent?
I have great respect for women. Nobody has more respect for women than I do.
So for the record, you're saying you never did that?
I said things that, frankly, you hear these things are said. And I was embarrassed by it, but I have tremendous respect for women.
Have you ever done those things?
Women have respect for me. And I will tell you, no, I have not.
Now the Republican nominee is facing new scrutiny tonight as several women come forward claiming they are victims of his sexual advances. First, Jessica Leeds comes forward tonight, who says she was on a flight more than 30 years ago with Trump, wound up sitting next to the young businessman in first class of a commercial air flight.
It wasn't until they cleared the meal that somehow or another the armrest in the seat disappeared, and it was a real shock when all of a sudden his hands were all over me. He was like an octopus. It was like he had 6 arms. He was all over the place. And if he had stuck with the upper part of the body, I might not have gotten that upset. But it's when he started putting his hand up my skirt, and that was it.
Another woman, Rachel Crooks, also speaking out to the New York Times, saying upon meeting Donald Trump in his building, she was just 22 years old, he, quote, kissed me directly on the mouth. She was a secretary at the time. Those accusations echoing the claim made by the former Miss Utah, Temple Taggart, who earlier this year recalled being kissed by Trump without consent, saying, quote, he kissed me directly on the lips. I thought, oh my God, gross. We're also learning, just as we come to air, that a Florida woman has now come forward, claiming to have been groped by Mr. Trump 13 years ago. She claims that he grabbed her backside against her consent. Joining me now, Chris Stirewalt and Dana Perino, co-hosts of Perino and Stirewalt. I'll tell you what, good to see you both.
Hi, Megan.
So, I mean, they say that, listening to him at that debate, say that it was just words and he never actually did that stuff he claimed to be doing on the bus, made them come forward, these latest 3. Stirewalt, put it in perspective politically, what this means.
Well, look, we now have a perspective on why Trump took the bellicose attitude that he did in that debate on the subject. Instead of being contrite, he was on the attack and presented Bill Clinton's accusers from the 1990s and before against him. We now see why. The why is that they expected this, that they knew that this is going to be a race to the bottom and that there were going to be more allegations and more accusations of misconduct against Trump. So they're trying to steel themselves by bringing back these women from Bill Clinton's past.
And there's another woman named Tasha Dixon, who was part of the Miss Teen USA pageant, who gave an interview today, and here's what she alleged. Listen.
He just came strolling right in. There was no second to put a robe on or any sort of clothing or anything. Some girls were topless, other girls were naked. Our first introduction to him was when we were at the dress rehearsal and half naked, changing into our bikinis. I'm telling you, Donald Trump owned the pageant for the reason to utilize his power to get, around beautiful women.
Now, that's just an allegation, but it does track with what Trump himself told Howard Stern back in 2005. Listen.
Well, I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show. Yes. And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. Right, I want to make sure that
like
everything is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
Dana?
So this is a pattern, right? So he says that, we said to Billy Bush, he has said to Howard Stern, is that he loves being a star. Because when you're a star, you get to do things that even if he's not actually doing them, right? He's like talking about it and bragging about it. And then his excuse is that, well, men do this and men talk like this in the locker room, which there's been a lot of men who have come forward and said, no, we don't. The Trump supporters and the Trump campaign tonight has said that this New York Times story is completely false. And they're questioning the timing of it.
And threatening to sue the New York Times.
They are. Here's the thing about that, though. They are expecting now for everybody that will be seeing these interviews with these women to not believe them. And one of the things they say in their statement is, how dare you reach back decades and look at possible sexual assaults from way before? Like, how could it matter? But the problem is, that's exactly what they are asking people to do when they're looking at Bill Clinton and having the women who have made allegations against Bill Clinton at the debate and doing events with them and doing interviews. I mean, now it's like they're trying to just muddy the waters. I don't know if I agree with Starwell that they knew this was coming, partly because of the angry denial that you hear Donald Trump make to the New York Times when he's on the phone with a reporter, calling her a disgusting human being for even reporting the story.
Well, I mean, I don't want to go psychological on you, but they say anger is closely related to fear. So, there. I've become Dr. Phil. Let's speak about this in the larger sense. And I do want to underscore that Trump has denied these allegations. You know, they're both campaigns are in a pickle because the Clinton camp wants to say, oh, you know, these women who accused Bill Clinton, he was never found guilty. They never had a successful lawsuit. It was 30 years ago. Well, these women, you know, they never had a lawsuit, you know, and the truth is that victims of sexual assault, victims of rape, victims of unwanted groping, they often don't come forward. They're humiliated, especially back in the day. They were told, move along, it happens to all women, you got to take it. It's a complicated
Because it would
situation.
hurt your career.
That's right. It's a complicated situation. Though, I mean, the 22-year-old secretary in Trump Tower is like, it's Donald Trump,
She
right?
calls her sister.
It's not to say it's real. I don't know whether it happened or not. I'm just saying these matters are complicated. But